So, Kevin, I'm going to do a little introduction thing. And then what I'd like to do is give you a few minutes and we'll kind of talk about you and what you're involved in and, how you're, Tabor and these types of things. And then we'll dive into Tony Scott and some movies.
Wonderful.
Sounds good?
Sounds great.
Right on.
All right.
Okay.
Ready to hit the intro?
Here we go.
All right, here we go.
All right. Welcome to My Dad's Movie Podcast. I'm Mick Johnson. I'm the dad. And with me, as usual, Taber.
Hey.
Okay, good enough. Short and sweet. I like it.
I notice I say the same thing every time. And so I tried to come up with something new, and I blanked. I had nothing.
I got nothing.
I just said, hey.
Hey is good. Whatever. Also, tonight with us, we have a special guest, Kevin Thompson.
Hey.
What's up, gentlemen?
Good to see you again. And, it's almost been a year, maybe even longer, right?
Yeah, I think we're at a little over 2 years now since the last time we saw each other.
No way, for real?
We shot a movie 259 together up there in Boise, Idaho, and that was technically I think that was 2023. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, is that how long it's been?
It's crazy.
That feels forever ago. Good grief.
Yeah, I didn't realize. So you segued right into where we were going to head with things. You're an actor.
Yes, I'm an actor now currently, and I'm a lifelong cinephile and just all-around movie fan. There's a reason why I work in movies, because it is what I love and am passionate about.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
I've been
awesome.
very lucky to be on some really, really cool sets. Lots of projects, big and small. I've been in really, really big things. I've been a very small part on some really big things. I've been in a handful of Marvel projects and, some other big network stuff. And then I've also been in very much smaller stuff. I work a lot in the indie world. I actually have my own production company, 50 Caliber Productions, and we've made some feature films, and we kind of, in that indie world, and hopefully on to bigger and better things. But if we stay doing what we're doing now, then I'm happy, because I very much love what we do. And I just love making movies and meeting really cool people that are also, movie fans along the way.
Right on. Well, that's important. Doing things that make you happy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's right.
So where are you located?
Right now, I live in Dallas, Texas. I just relocated down here earlier this year. I lived in Los Angeles for 12 and a half years.
Okay.
And, I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri. So being in St. Louis, I didn't really know of any film market there at the time, which is ironic, because after I moved to LA, I found my people in St. Louis, ironically.
Yeah.
But back then it was, you had to live in LA or New York or, one of the major markets. Some of the people in the Midwest, they'll go to Chicago or maybe Atlanta. But for me, it was LA was the choice. I had spent some time in Southern California in the Marine Corps and just fell in love with the nature, the weather, all that good stuff. And then combine that with the movies and the, La La Land. So moved there, never lived in Hollywood proper. I always lived in up in the valley where, all of us regular starving artists live, and made that my home for a dozen years. And it's kind of tapered off a bit there in LA, as anybody who follows, the news or follows the industry
Right.
in general, that it's splintered off. It's a lot of it's going overseas now, and a lot of it is in every other film market. So
Right.
also combine that with the very expensive way of living in California. I didn't see a way of me really being able to buy a house and really plant my flag there. So me and my wife, we moved to Texas and built a house and get to run our little studio out of here. But that hasn't stopped me. I've still gone back to LA. I've shot feature films there since. I've shot, like we always travel for work. In fact, 8 of my last 9 movies were all outside of LA. So I wasn't shooting in LA enough to justify spending $3,000 a month in rent to live there.
Yeah,
So.
good
Right.
grief. Good
But
grief.
you'll go back there and make a movie.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, the last movie that I shot there was called The Handyman. Just came out last month on Tubi and Amazon and everywhere else. It's an indie action movie, and I played the handyman. But I went back. I think I was in LA or I was out of LA for like 2 months, and I got the call and want to come back to California. It's like, of course, I want to come back to California, go make a fun shoot 'em up action movie.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
all I want to do.
Yeah, I haven't been on a film set in a while, and I'm going crazy. I'm missing it. So
yeah, you go through. I did my first project here in Texas. I'd done commercials and I'd done. Well, I guess I did shoot a film here before I moved here. I shot a film here last year, but after I moved here, we shot our first production a month or two ago now, and it was instantly like the next day, and it was crazy, or it was very nice. I got to go home at the end of the night and actually sleep in my own bed, and yeah, definitely immediately hit those post project depression. Just it immediately sunk in. It was like, oh, that was it. Like, I don't know when the next one's gonna be, and I know there will be a next one, but I don't know when.
you know, it's really funny you say that. I have felt that when I did plays in high school. I have felt that when I'm shooting a short film, and I don't remember which short film it was on, but we were all sitting down and we were having like a team meeting, and I said, you know, look around you. This is the last time you're going to ever work with these exact people. And I said, you know, a lot of us are going to continue to work together, but you know, maybe this guy won't be there next time, or maybe we'll have some different people that come in on the next one, but it'll never be this exact same crew again. And it is kind of a very melancholy feeling. And when you're done with a project, you do feel kind of sad. And but as an editor, the project, after everyone's done filming, they go and they're sad that the movie's over, but I'm in the editing room putting stuff together. So it doesn't really quite end for me. So I don't get that feeling until much later. Everyone else has it much earlier than I do. So
Yeah, that very much makes sense, and it really is. Like you say, there you have a film family, and every film has this very specific group of people. And you're right, because you never will everybody together again. And even whenever it gets to like the premiere, it's like, yay, let's celebrate this thing that we did together. And then there's always somebody that's missing for some reason or another.
Right.
And it's just you never even have that moment. It's like I've tried to have a wrap party and half the people don't show up to the wrap party. And then I throw a cast and crew only screening, and that you get, 60% of the people. And then you throw the big premiere and then you get 80% of the people, but there's never not once that everybody's actually together.
Right.
And after you wrap, it's just the nature of the beast.
So I don't know what directors you've been working with over in LA. We did an interview with David Mitch Parks. Yeah, I don't know if you know him.
No.
And we're going to be talking next week to Thomas Churchill.
Oh, cool. Tell Thomas I said hi. Tell him I am available and I need to get in one of his movies. We've circled the waters with each other, but yeah, you're going to enjoy talking to Thomas. He's a character. He's a New Yorker that likes to talk it. So he will, and he does really fun action movies too. He does, it's always got somebody cool in it. Like, I want to go be in a movie with Rampage Jackson and
exactly. Yeah.
Like, yeah, he does really cool movies. You're gonna get a good night out of him.
Nice. So you mentioned 259. So you were in 259. We actually talked to who'd we talk to?
We talked to Amber Hoffmeister last week.
Oh, yeah. Cool! Yeah, she played my girl, in the film. That's wonderful.
Yeah, so she brought you up, but yeah, that was kind of cool. We got to talk to her about 259. Let's get your take on 259. What kind of what you did, and I know that I haven't heard when it's coming out yet, but I know that there's going to be something coming up. So,
well, there is rumor that we will finally get our proper premiere next month, and then it'll come out not much after that. So I know that a lot of that team, a lot of the producers, and I think most of the producers, they all were involved with the death of Snow White.
Yeah.
And because they were on a time crunch going up against Disney's Snow White, that they did make that their priority. And then 259 did take the back seat to it, which makes sense because it was a timing thing. So, but luckily, the Death of Snow White did come out and is available everywhere. And so, a lot of the same people were crossover. Jason Brooks was the director of it, and of course, he was our effects artist and our creature in 259. And then, between Cody and Sanaya, how do you say it?
Sanaya, yeah.
Yeah. So she plays Snow White. She actually plays my daughter in 259. So
okay.
So yeah, you talk about that film family of getting everybody together. I've since worked with Cody Newton, who is the director of that. I was able to hire him on one of my projects as the cinematographer. And we just, he's one that I always keep up with that I was really happy because me and Cody had kind of crossed paths and we had been kind of circling each other for a while too. I'd auditioned for a project a couple years prior that I inevitably did not get the role, but there was mutual interest with us working together. So whenever it came time for 259, I was happy to go to film there in Idaho. I'd never been to Idaho. It was a beautiful, beautiful area and everybody was very nice. And anytime I got a chance to get out of LA, I really, really did, because people on film sets outside of LA act very differently than people on film sets in LA. LA, it's just mostly business. And I understand because it is a business. It's the entertainment business and people are there to, punch a clock, get paid at the end of the day. But whenever you go to a spot like Idaho, or, we're filming in Louisiana next month, and whenever you go to these other places, it is more, you just feel that people just have a different passion for it.
Absolutely.
And 259 was a lot of fun because, it's just a lot of dimension to it. It's, it's like an adventure. It's got the horror elements. Cody wanted it to be kind of funny and so you're hitting on all these different things. And there was very serious, kind of gruesome parts to it.
Right.
Got to get physical with some of the stunts, with a lot of, you're almost checking almost every box that you can at that point, which is just really exciting because it's not just a flat one note movie at all. So.
Right. So two things. I'm glad you brought Cody Newton up, because by law, we have to have him mentioned on our podcast every episode. So you ticked that box for us. Thank you.
Oh yeah. I read my contract. I was well aware that I had to do that.
Right. And then, as far as the indie scene goes, I've really noticed, that's one of the nice things, I guess, about making indie movies is you don't have to be in Hollywood or LA to put together some really cool stuff. We're seeing a lot of really neat things coming out of the Idaho area. We're seeing a lot of stuff going on in Utah. There's stuff going on in Hawaii, so that, there's just stuff going on all over the place that's kind of becoming big. Yeah,
absolutely. And the barrier of entry has been lowered. Before, you had to have these expensive $30,000 cameras, and the only people that had them were in New York and LA. And you had to rent the equipment because it was too expensive to own. And you had to spend thousands of dollars on celluloid film because there was, no digital. And now you can go out and buy your own cinema camera for $1,400. You just buy yourself a couple hard drives and some good lenses, and you have your own cinematography kit, and you can start making your own movies. And it doesn't even have to be that much. You can film decent movies on iPhones now. There's movies that are coming out where they are bragging that the entire thing was shot on an iPhone. So it's no longer you have to go to LA. Or
what did they shoot 28 years later on? Didn't they just shoot that one on something?
Yeah, they shot that on an iPhone.
Yeah, you're talking about a Danny Boyle film, and just unreal.
Yeah. Now, granted, the iPhone was rigged up to some serious gear, but
it's not out the box. Just
it had a massive lens on it. It had a big rig, and so when Danny Boyle says we shot this movie on an iPhone, you're like, did you? Yeah. Did you though?
Right.
So
it's an iPhone with some extras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're just like, yeah, we shot this whole thing on an iPhone. And they're just like, all right, light the stuntman. Like, I mean, who's just shooting on their phone out of their pocket is going to have the money to light a stuntman on fire?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Alec would do it.
Alec would. Oh,
He would try it.
yeah.
Alec is one of my other sons. He's down in Utah right now.
Very cool.
But, yeah.
Also in the film industry?
He's actually going to film school down there at BYU
Hey.
Provo.
Wonderful.
He and Taber, you were in on Goatman.
Yeah.
Right. They had planned out this stunt that they wanted to do, and he asked me to run him to
Home Depot?
Walmart.
Oh.
He wanted to get some cardboard boxes, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. Let's go get some boxes. I didn't know what he was going to do, and so he buys all these boxes, just like 100 of them, and then I'm like, what are you doing with all these boxes, bud? Well, we're going to have somebody jump out of a window like a barn, and this is what's going to break their fall. And then I was like, okay, I got to step in now. Because somebody's going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the actor wanted to do it. He's like, no, man.
Yeah.
Don't let your dad talk you out of it. Throw me out of that window, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes dad has to step in.
Yeah. Good move, Dad.
So awesome. So you wanted to talk about Tony Scott.
I did. I love me some Tony Scott growing up in the 80s and, really coming into my own as a film connoisseur in the 90s. Tony what I loved about him is that the movies looked like movies. You have certain directors that just for some reason can make them really big. And of course, it's like I could have said James Cameron or even Ridley Scott because Paul Verhoeven, they were like, those were the iconic directors of that era. But there was something about Tony and the way that he did films that I found myself rewatching the movies. It felt like almost more often that he had a very specific feel to it and a look to it that it was just so cinematic, and it was just so like it was world building in a world that already exists. It's a real world that we're living in for the most of the movies, but it just looks cooler. It looks sleeker. It looks just like it's all those extra things. And I mean, not saying that like Ridley Scott doesn't do that, but it's just a completely different type of feel. And just really, something about Tony Scott that just always just resonated with me.
Well, I went through and I looked at a lot of the stuff that he's done. He's done a lot of really good shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you're talking about, I was looking at the fact that Ridley Scott takes you to space and Tony Scott keeps you grounded on Earth. And I think that that's so cool that, they're both brothers, but they have two entirely different approaches to filmmaking. And it's so cool seeing, these different, because you would think, oh, they're brothers, they're going to like the same things, but they're two totally different human beings, and it's so crazy. I mean, it's like watching
different stuff.
It's like watching something that I make versus something that Alec makes.
Right.
They're two entirely different things.
Right.
So
I do need to apologize ahead of time. All of my notes and everything that I have for this podcast, I have linked to my a Google account, and it was based off of an email from college. That college email yesterday shut down.
Oh, no.
I have no notes. I have nothing. Everything is gone right now until I can get that worked out. So we're kind of winging it right now.
That's all right. I don't have any notes either. I'll just we'll use our noggins.
Right on.
Today.
Yeah. So let's talk about Tony Scott a little bit at first.
I think if you might have sent me a link to your notes, that I might still have them.
Oh, really?
So let me double check.
Yeah. Tony Scott, one of the things I always like to find out about directors, when I look them up, there's a couple of things that I really like. Movies, you always think about the director. They kind of make the movie the way it's going to go. And so you kind of touched on a little bit of Tony Scott as far as his style. So when you watch a Tony Scott movie, what do you really see for pretty consistent style in him?
Well, what it is he's got this certain act for what do they say? It's like a moving camera while also the camera's always in a very interesting position. It's not your safe spots. It's never, it just feels like it's always moving. It's like for some reason, it's like he is like, I don't know if he's the best action movie director because some of them aren't really like, I mean, they're action movies, but they're not like your typical, it's not like a Die Hard or
Right.
something, you know,
Right.
they're more of these like it's just like there's almost you're almost always going on an adventure with the characters. And for some reason his just I don't know if it's just like a color tone that isn't normal. It does not feel like you're just in a room with us. It feels
Right.
like you're definitely somewhere that's like a heightened reality that really feels like it. And it's just so stylistic. I don't know what it is. It's like these words. It's like it's sleek. It's yeah. I don't know.
Right.
It's just something about it, like that it just makes it. You know, sometimes it does look like other because obviously we all live in a copycat world, and anytime that something is popular, but it makes sense that he could like take a Tarantino script and bring it to life and it's amazing. Or you could take like he made, you know, like a cool, you know, like NASCAR movie whenever NASCAR wasn't cool when I was a kid.
Right.
And so it's like, oh, we got Tom Cruise in a NASCAR movie. Now I'm in.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I'm all in. And it still looks beautiful. I mean, it was 30, what is it, 35 years ago or something. You watch that movie and it still holds up just as good. Just the visual style of it just absolutely still holds up to this day. I don't know if there's a single Tony Scott movie that like you could say is like aged badly for the way that it looks. Maybe like the context or the script isn't the best, which obviously we're going to talk about a little bit later. But as far as like the look, I mean, sure, like if you were to make Top Gun today, it would not look the way that it did back then. But you watch it now and it's whatever it is, 40 years old, dang near. And you watch it like, oh, it still looks good. Like
Yeah.
every bit of it still looks cool.
I think you're right. You know, his movies, what I've seen of his, they're not these action packed, you know, sci-fi, all these action hero type things, but they're very character driven movies. He's really rich in the characters and investing in moving the movie forward based on the characters. That's what I notice.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot more character development in Top Gun than I was remembering.
Yeah.
Because I saw that film years ago. Like I must have been like 6 years old the last time I saw Top Gun.
Oh, okay.
I was very little. And I hardly remembered anything about it. But it looked great. I watched it on Amazon Prime, and you can see that film grain in there, and you just
Right.
you just forget that 80s films looked like this. When I saw the film grain, I was like, oh, I thought this was a 90s movie, and I looked it up, and it was 80s. So I was like, this looks really good for an 80s movie.
Right.
It looked really clean, and a lot of these people are going and pulling out the old film negatives and cleaning them up and getting them looking really nice and using these old film negatives to restore a lot of these movies back to like their, you know, their former glory.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah. What else about Tony Scott? What else do we
I like that you know, like a lot of these he didn't like Ridley. He was like a machine, you know. They make a lot of films. There's certain directors, you know, all due respect to, you know, Nolan or, you know, James Cameron, who they can make a movie every 3 to 5 years. And you're like, oh, okay, it's going to be big. And then,
James Cameron does them every 10 years now.
Right. Yeah. How wild is that?
Yeah.
But it's like, or like Tarantino with, you know, Tarantino's been around. When did his first movie come out? 92 or something. And he's made what, 8 movies or something?
Yeah.
Or 10. I guess he's going for the 10th, I think is
Yeah.
calling
I think he's got one more and then he's done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's great, you know, that's I all due respect to that. But then you get some of these guys that could just, you know, could be more like a machine. And I know that that's where the Scots are just built differently because Ridley, even at his age, he's churning them out. I mean, there was a couple of years ago, it was, I think 4 years ago that he did 3 movies in one year, came out in one year. I can't remember if it was Gucci, and there was the Last Duel, and I think a third one, all in like and maybe even one of the Alien movies was all like the same calendar year. And it's just to see these big movies, and they have all the moving parts too. So with Tony, I think he was one of those like movie a year guy that he could just push it out, and it's just again, not all of them are great movies, but there's just something about it that they're all fun. I don't know, it's hard to watch a Tony Scott movie and say you didn't have fun watching it. Yeah. So
I definitely had fun with Top Gun. I was going into it being a little skeptical because I hear everybody just sing praises about Top Gun, and like I said, the last time I saw it, I was 6 years old. I remembered Goose dying. Spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen it yet.
Great.
I remember Goose dying, but then like as a child, I thought he got blown up in like the ship. I didn't realize that he died in such a technical manner that it was like a malfunction and he hit his head. I was like, wait, that's how he went?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You remembered it differently.
Yeah. I thought like they were in a dogfight and they got shot down, and I remembered that movie entirely different. The only thing that I actually remember, oddly enough, is the sex scene.
Boom, 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 boom.
Okay.
Yeah. But even as a 6-year-old, I was like, this was tastefully done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I did not remember how much they used Danger Zone. They used it a lot in that movie.
Every time there's you go back to it again and again.
That was big.
Yeah. Do you remember Tim and Eric's $1 billion movie?
Yes.
Remember the scene where they go to buy the mall from Will Ferrell?
Yeah.
And he goes, "You guys want to watch Top Gun? Right now? Oh, it'd mean the world to me." Like, yeah, okay. All right, Top Gun from the top. They watch the entire movie, and they're like, "So anyway, about this mall, you guys want to watch it again?" Like, right this second, he's just like, "It really is my favorite movie." So they watch Top Gun twice in a row before they actually get down to talking business.
Right.
So
I support that. I think whenever Top Gun Maverick came out, I could have watched that 2 times in a row and not even thought about it. Like
easily.
Like as the credits rolled, it's like, cool, just start it over.
Start it over again.
Yeah. So Top Gun Maverick, actually. So I thought what we would do is we would talk about what's the first one? Oh, The Fan.
The Fan.
And
Did you guys ever seen it?
I watched it today. I had never seen it before.
I'd never seen it before. I got full disclosure. I finished Top Gun this morning and then started The Fan, and I got halfway through it. So
you saw plenty then. It doesn't get any better.
Yeah.
In fact, it may even get worse.
Oh, really? I saw
it's weird. Yeah, it's just a weird one that just the elements are there, the pieces are there, and for some reason, like it just doesn't. I mean, it looks cool. It was shot well. I mean,
that's something I've noticed between the two films is that they're both shot really well.
Yeah, always. Like I say, you will never, not some of the movies age badly. Some of them, the dialogue or acting can be clunky, but they always look good. Got to give that.
Well, I'll tell you what, Robert De Niro in that, he's just always a bad guy.
That was my problem with the movie is that it's almost like because he was coming off of Cape Fear.
Yes.
Right.
Well, that's the vibe that I got off when I was watching the Fan. I was thinking about Cape Fear. That was kind of that character.
Yeah. It's like cut and paste the same character. And it's a shame too because they never quite explain why he is the way that he is. I mean, it's just they never.
Right.
It's just like, oh, like you realize, like is he psycho? Is he like what is it, or is he just a person who's reached a snapping point? Because there was other movies of that time that was guys that would eventually snap. There was Falling Down with Michael Douglas, where it's like, oh, you see it that just the everything is going against him, but in The Fan, you're like, he's got a lull at work, and he messed up with his
Right.
kid. I
But
don't know.
but the Robert De Niro character, maybe it's just Robert De Niro. I don't know. When you're looking at him and you're looking at the character, and you can kind of see he's right on the verge of exploding. Right? He's just under the surface. Something's going to happen. You can tell. And that scene when he's things aren't going real good for him. He's clearly on edge. As far as the divorce that he had and the kid not being with him and stuff. But then when he takes his son to the ball game, and then in the middle of the ball game, he just gets up and takes off and goes to try and make a sale. Right? I thought, this guy is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I think I was a little angry when that happened.
Yeah.
I thought,
Oh yeah, yeah,
what
and
the
then like
hell?
he's mad at the other guy.
Right.
It's like he showed up late the day before, and then he's going to leave his own kid sitting in a chair at a ball game at opening day, which is the biggest thing in the world,
Right.
and he's out there haggling for tickets, and then he's just going to leave and go try to sell some knives. Like
Right.
chalk it up as a loss. Go get them next time.
Right. Right.
Like what are you doing?
I would say falling down was a very apt description, because I kept getting that feeling while I was watching this. It's like, this feels like that 90s angry middle-aged white dude, from the suburbs finally snapping vibe.
Right.
And so,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and
I
then
felt that.
I mean, yeah, there was almost its own genre of movie back then. It's like it's funny whenever you kind of go through these eras of movies, and especially with like action movies. Whenever after Die Hard, everything was Die Hard. It was Die Hard in a plane, Die Hard on a train, Die Hard. Everything became one man army movies, and then you had this unfortunate was one that I don't know if it went to like all the way up to like American Beauty with like Kevin Spacey just it's a different kind of snapping. It's just like that's just going into like don't care anymore mode or whatever it
Yeah.
is. He didn't get violent. I mean, people got violent in that movie, but he didn't personally. But it is kind of funny how you kind of see the trends that movies go to. And
Right.
the fan was one of my problems was that it was also sure it's a psychological thriller or whatever you want to call it, but it was also coming of an age that baseball movies were very very popular at this age. You come off of coming out of the 80s. I mean, obviously The Natural and Bull Durham and Major League and big league movies were a thing. Now you were also going into an era where children's baseball movies were a thing. There was Little Big League and Rookie of the Year and The
Angels in the
Sandlot
Outfield.
and Angels in the Outfield, and you started to see these things. But like all in all, baseball movies were very very popular at this time. So you're kind of taking these elements of like, oh my God, it's Wesley Snipes who played Willie Mays Hayes in Major League,
Right.
and he's almost like borderline that same character. And so you got him playing the same. He's basically Willie Mays Hayes out there. You got yeah, like we were just saying with De Niro basically playing the character from Cape Fear.
Right.
You put Tony Scott, and you're like, oh, okay, now we're cooking with now let's get it. And just for some reason, it just yeah. So even whenever it gets to the end of the movie, I know you didn't get there, Tabor, but the final baseball game, right? Of like the movie that it shows, it's he De Niro is able to make his way all the way onto the field as the umpire.
Right.
Now he's out there like as the ump, and was he the ump or was he the catcher? I don't even remember.
No, he was the umpire. Yeah.
He was the ump. Okay. And now you're going like you realize that they did that in a Naked Gun, and it was hilarious because all of a sudden Frank Drebin is the umpire, and it's like, what are we doing here? Are we doing a Naked Gun only trying to play it serious? The most ridiculous part of Naked Gun is now the final piece of our film, and it's just pouring down rain. And well, no, baseball has rain delays.
Yeah.
And it's not a trickle either. You could tell they got these rain machines on full blast. And for some reason, the entire stadium is like black because they probably filmed it in front of no people at this point. So it's like a dark stadium. It's so moody. and so, and also whenever it's darkened, now you're really just in this world of the umpire and the batter, and in this world, and it's just pouring down rain, and it's just, yeah, it got really tough there.
Yeah.
I'm somebody who I have a pretty big suspension of disbelief whenever it comes to films, and I let a lot go. And even me as like a 11-year-old kid or something was like, this seems dumb to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really funny is that my wife cannot suspend disbelief, cannot suspend belief. I'm confusing myself.
She can't do either one of them.
Yeah. But on a movie that I want to show her, so I'm like, you gotta watch this, and she'd be like, well, that's not how it's done, and nurses don't really do that, and a doctor would get in trouble for that. I was like, yeah, but just enjoy the movie. And then I walk in on her, and she's like, look, the puppy's driving a mail truck, and I'm like, oh, and you believe that, huh?
That seems feasible.
So her movies are her own thing.
Yeah, it was a little weird watching the show. I didn't know, at what point, I mean, kind of why he cracked, why he went the direction he went. He goes and he goes and kills the guy.
Right? Oh, Benicio del Toro?
Yeah, he goes and kills the baseball player. And then he goes and he kidnaps Wesley Snipes' son. And I'm thinking, what is the end game here? What does he want? Just for Wesley Snipes to hit a home run. He's gone through all of this for that.
They started the movie 6 months too late. We need to see what happened 6 months prior
before
and get that information.
Right. Yeah, because I remember even as a kid watching it and them being just, I'm rooting for Wesley Snipes in a way, because it's like you want him to play good and he's playing bad, and whether he was hurt or whatever, and then you're like, come on, I want him to play good. And then the whole time with the De Niro thing and his kid, and he's at his house, and he's wearing his clothes, and it's like Wesley's being pretty cool at this point, and he's like, and it's like, what else could you possibly want? I don't know. It's a weird dynamic that just didn't land. And yeah, you're right. What is the end game? And it was a very, very interesting scenario, to say the least.
But this is a movie you wanted to talk about.
Oh, yeah, because I went. Well, it's funny because I went through Tony's catalog, because there's movies that I even forget that he did. And when Taber came to me, I was like, ooh, who? And like I said, I went through my usual choices of some of my favorite directors. Then I kind of went into a secondary list of like who I think is interesting. And then fell on Tony, and it was funny because I wasn't even really even thinking. I wasn't even thinking about what movies I would do, and I was like, oh, you guys like to talk about one that you really like and one that didn't do so well. Right. So and one flip through the IMDb, I was like, oh yeah, The Fan. Yep, that's his bad movie. It sticks out like a sore thumb, because there was other movies that I learned to almost appreciate a little bit more the more that I watched them. Like what was the train one with Chris Pine and Denzel, Unstoppable. Okay. First time I watched that, I watched it on a plane, and I'm watching it on the little itty bitty screen, and I'm just, and I got kind of bored, and I'm like, that's not really doing it for me. Then I watched it on like my TV at home with like the surround sound, and you could feel it. Now and on a bigger screen, it looks great. Different. Yeah, and the experience was great, and I was like, oh, that was actually a really good movie. Was I doing it no justice by watching it on a little airplane TV or my phone or whatever I did?
Right.
But most of his movies, I say, they're so well done in that they look just cool and they have a feel to them. So yeah, but all it took was one scroll through the IMDb, and I was like, oh yeah, The Fan. I have some strong feelings.
Well, and I think that's cool. We watch. There's a lot of movies that we talk about on this podcast that I don't really, they're not my kind of movie, talk a lot about horror films and stuff like that. And I'm just not into that sort of stuff, but it's cool to look at them anyways, because I can always usually find something that I kind of like about the movie. There's something about, and even The Fan, even though it wasn't like this movie that I thought, oh, wow, this is phenomenal. I love this. But I really liked a lot about the characters. I thought the story was very interesting. And so even watching stuff that, maybe this wasn't the best thing that Tony Scott ever did, it's still interesting to talk about it.
Oh, absolutely. And stylistically, it was it was a cool looking movie. And I say stylistically, it was very cool. They had a lot of really great actors in it, as most of the studio films of that time did. And it was a lot of fun because I actually rewatched. I made about 3/4 of the way through it on the rewatch. I wasn't able to finish it either. I had to go to work yesterday. But it's just like, oh right, like you're just seeing all the people that are in, and you're seeing how much pressure there is, how much pressure like pro athletes put on themselves. That it was a cool dynamic with a lot of really good characters. And I wanted it to be better. That's the thing is it's like, I think with just a tweak here and there, or I don't know, because like I say, with those movies of that era, there are a lot of them that some of them hold up great, some of them, and then some of them you remember them being a lot better than what they were,
Right.
and some of them were better than you thought that they were. So, like I said, I did rewatch most of it, and it was pretty much about what I remembered. I was like, wait, what? Why?
And there were a few kind of cool scenes. The one where he goes into the sauna to kill the other baseball player. He has a piece of paper or an envelope in his hand when he walks in there. You don't really realize what he's going in there to do. And then he just kind of walks out. But then I'm guessing that they kind of go into his memory. It's almost like he starts thinking about what actually happened in that room. Initially, we didn't see what happened.
Yeah.
He walked in, he walked back out, type of thing. But then they go into a little more detail off of what he's thinking about, and you see what actually took place in there. I thought that was kind of a cool way to do it, instead of just
showing
he walks
immediately
in, they have a scuffle, he kills him, he walks out. Yeah, I liked the way that they did that.
I'll have to catch up.
Yes.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert, Taber.
Right, yeah. But no, you're right. Yeah, no, filmmaking, most of the choices in it were really good. I don't know if it was just the script or, just a few choices that were made. But yeah, I mean, filmmaking wise, there was definitely, like I said, a really cool, fun way of storytelling. That's for sure.
Right. Well, what else? We want to talk about anything else on The Fan, or we want to talk about Top Gun for a minute?
We can get into Top Gun.
Yeah, we get into Top Gun. I think I'm good on The Fan. Yeah, said my piece again. Not it's not like a brutally bad movie. Don't get me wrong. It was still entertaining, and
I was not having a bad time.
I didn't turn it off when I was a kid. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So on Top Gun, when we talk about that, that's kind of what we're going to talk about. But I had also talked to you about, do you like or have you seen Top Gun Maverick? And your response just cracked me up. I thought it was hilarious. It was something like, what's wrong with you? I've seen it this many times at the movie theater type of thing. It's like, oh, okay. I guess he likes Top Gun Maverick. I actually saw Top Gun Maverick when I first saw it. I went to the movies with Nicholas, and it was friggin' phenomenal. But I like Top Gun, and I love it when they come up with another movie based off of that, the first one, and they pull all of these other things in. So that's what I'd like to do, is talk about Top Gun, but then maybe let's touch on Top Gun Maverick a little bit.
Love to.
And talk about maybe some of the stuff that they pulled from one to the other, and callbacks and those types of things.
It's called a legacy sequel.
Yeah, legacy sequel. I like that.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, most legacy sequels are not good. So that was one that, especially in certain genres. Most comedies, I can't really think of one legacy sequel in the comedy.
Dumb and Dumber 2.
Yeah. Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, so Dumb and Dumber 2 is an example of a legacy sequel. It was brought about because people had such fond memories of the original movie, and they were just like, please give us one more. and they released it, and it just didn't hit.
Yeah.
It was a bummer. We just got Happy Gilmore 2, and it's I remember Zoolander 2, and it's just they're pretty painful movies. Every now and again you'll get one that's decent, but I think you have I'm not sure exactly what's the difference between legacy and direct sequel, because take Terminator, where we had the first Terminator to T2, that was 8 years or something like that. But the look of the movies changed so much that it doesn't even look like it's in the same universe. Where by the time Terminator 3 came along, I think that was actually longer time between 2 and 3 is what there was from 1 to 2.
Yeah.
But Terminator 3 looks like it was made at the same time, it could have been made the next year. But it was 9 years later, 10, whatever it was. And so it's kind of interesting, even with somebody just referred to the last Avatar as a legacy sequel. They're because the first one came out so much earlier, it was 15 years difference or something. And they're the new one or the last one was a legacy sequel. Now there's one coming out next month, but that one's not a legacy sequel. That one's just another sequel in the movie. So it's a weird thing whenever you get into it about but Avatar 1 to Avatar 2, they look the exact same. There just happened to be time that passed between. I don't know.
I would argue that Avatar 2 is not a legacy sequel. I think that if you have a movie, and just because you have a second movie that continues the story, that doesn't necessarily make it a legacy sequel. I think that a legacy sequel is something that has laid dormant forever, that really doesn't even need a sequel because it was so good on its own. And, Friday the 13th, they kept popping out sequel every year, and Saw, a sequel every year. But let's say we made one Saw movie and we never touched it again. And we went 30 years without a Saw movie, and someone says, you know what, remember how good Saw was? What if we did one more for the road? And we'll get all the actors back. We'll get Cary Elwes back. We'll get Tobin Bell back. And the whole thing was just to reignite this fire that the first movie made us feel. I think that's what qualifies as a legacy sequel. So, even though there was 15 years between Avatar movies, the second one was always planned, and everyone knew the second one was coming. James Cameron was writing it forever and working on it forever, and it was just the natural progression of the story. I don't think if James Cameron had said, I'm going to do this Avatar movie, and he finished it and he goes, all right, that's it. I'm done with Avatar. Let's move on to the next thing. And then 15 years later he goes, you know what? I kind of feel like revisiting Avatar and bringing everything back. And I just, it's, kind of just mincing words at some point. But I think that there are certain qualifications that give you the term legacy sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because the word legacy, I feel like it's almost I'm not sure if it's totally defined at this point, because or I guess it's like a fluid area that's kind of changed depending on the topic, because we say that about bands. They're oh, they're a legacy act, oh, just play the hits, but it's oh no, they still make albums. They're still very much, just because their first album came out 30 years ago doesn't ultimately immediately make them a legacy act. So I think that it is a little bit of a different type of thing, because even with you take I think they're doing another Toy Story. They're up to Toy Story 5, and I mean, this has been going on for 30 years at this point. Yeah. And it's no, it's just another one. It doesn't have to be not to be a legacy. It's not but Top Gun, that's definitely what I think of when we think about the defined legacy sequel. I mean, you're talking about 35 years or something.
So a legacy sequel is a movie that no one was asking for, or everyone was wanting, but it took forever to get. What is a sequel that nobody wants, but they give it to us anyway? Like Toy Story 5. Nobody's asking for Toy Story 5. But, I watched a video that it was a 30-minute long video about Quentin Tarantino ranting about Toy Story 4. And he was just going on and on about how the logical ending of that movie was Toy Story 3. That it was a beginning, a middle, and an end, and there was a nice arc going over all three movies, and it was completed. And then they came out with the fourth one, and he was really offended by it. So,
okay,
yeah.
Yeah, well, it's weird to think that the movie trilogy is supposed to be the best way of doing a full story arc, with each film having its own, arc in its own. Very rarely does a movie like Dune or something, it's just like, all right, and see you next movie. Then that normally movies do wrap up in a certain way to make you feel like you're good. But yeah, there is something about that trilogy that just hits so much better. And I forget what it was. There was a couple of these movies too that they call them like two movies. Oh, and they're like, no, it's meant to be two, and then but that's all that you're getting. There is no crammed in third part that nobody's asking for. Or in Toy Story's case, the fourth, and then fifth.
A duology.
So Top Gun.
Top Gun's on the top.
Let's pull it back to Top Gun now.
Yeah.
All right. Is there a cooler looking movie in the 80s than Top Gun? For some, they made the Navy cool.
Oh, yeah.
They laid so much groundwork with that.
I think after that movie came out, I think naval aviators and people signing up skyrocketed.
Oh, absolutely.
I thought the movie was funded by the Navy.
If it wasn't,
I don't know.
It very well could.
I'll Google that because that could just be an urban legend. But I thought that they were given a list of things that they had to cover, and if they hit all those little check marks, the Navy gave them money for the film.
It was fun too because they were so like politically correct in the way that they did it. You didn't know who the bad guys were, or you didn't know what country they were from. They even darkened their visors so you couldn't see if they were brown or Asian or just white people.
Right.
You had no idea. They like even the colors of the jets, you could tell who was bad, who was good. I mean, it was straight out of like G.I. Joe. It was
it was G.I. Joe. You're right. It had that look to it.
Right. And it's just it was brought to life, and it was just that perfect culmination for like the young cool guys, especially with even like we all know, it's like, oh, it's Maverick and Goose and Iceman. Like these are just call names that we know just so well. 40 years later, that it's just sunken into like the zeitgeist, where we talk about what pop cultural things really hit. And for some reason, it's like you could say to anybody, I feel the need, or I have the need for speed. And it's just
right.
Like say the Danger Zone. Like I still get hyped listening to that.
Yeah.
It came on the radio right now. I'd turn it up and my car would immediately start driving faster without even thinking about it.
That's right. It's on my phone.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I love that song. Yeah, this movie got me pumped up. I wasn't expecting it to be as cool. Like I said, I was a little skeptical going in. I was like, it can't be as cool as everyone says it is. It's just a military movie. It's not. And I was like, man, this is so cool. And like I thought all the plane flying was super neat.
Well, they were really cool characters. There was some backstory with Tom Cruise and being Maverick and his father, and so, I mean, there was a direction that they were going with it, but they had some really, really cool stuff, like fighting with jets and stuff like that. So there was stuff that would get men hyped up and pumped up. They were doing really cool things.
Yeah. So it's funny you mentioned his dad, because when they were talking about how his dad was a fighter pilot and someone said that you're chasing a ghost out there, I was like, holy crap. A Few Good Men is just Top Gun, but stripped for all its parts.
No planes.
Yeah, so they were just like, hey, we're going to make another, Tom Cruise military movie. They're like, all right, get him in his plane. Like, oh, no plane. He's going to be in an office. Right. I'm like, oh, okay, well, his dad is, his dad's still dead, and his dad is what is influencing him to be better. I was like, okay. But at least he'll get the girl, right? No, he doesn't get the girl in this one. We're going to make sure that he doesn't get the girl. And they're just like, okay, are you going to kill his funny comedic sidekick friend? no, we'll let him live. We need to give him a win. Yeah. So it's everything except they let him keep Goose in A Few Good Men. So
Kevin Pollak? Is that your
Kevin Pollak. He's awesome.
Yeah, he's little Goose.
Nice.
Doesn't Goose's son come back for Maverick? I haven't seen Maverick, by the way. Full disclosure, I have not seen Maverick yet.
Yeah. Oh my god! No, he does. Of course, he does. It's Rooster. He's got to be another weird bird name.
So that's the really cool thing about Maverick is not just that it still has some really cool stuff in it and some fantastic characters and planes and fighting and blah blah blah. There's so much stuff that they pulled, like Rooster. Well, he's the son of a goose, right?
Yeah.
And so pulling those things over into the story, if you're familiar with Top Gun, that's going to mean so much, when you're watching Maverick, right?
Because everyone who watched Top Gun, anyone I ask about Top Gun, they always say that the part for them that always sticks out the most is just losing Goose. And it was such an emotional moment for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so it's like an emotional reward for them to have Rooster and to see the son come back and you're right. It's pulling from one movie, bringing it to the other, and it sounds like it's pretty seamless.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the way that it's done too, they give you a quick little catch up, but then they go right in. It's one of those movies that because they can hit the ground running, and that they just floor it from the beginning. And it's Maverick is for me it's definitely the best sequel of a movie that I could think of that wasn't like a planned trilogy. I'm not comparing it to Lord of the Rings or something on like an epic scale, but as far as it's not Avengers Endgame or something. It's this 20 movies built up to this. But as far as just a sequel, one movie that was a continuation of a story, I can't think of a better one of like this century. I don't go all the way back to, I don't know, like Terminator 2 or something.
What about Creed?
Okay, great sequel. What was that?
What about Creed?
Creed was, very, very, very good movie. But again, they kind of planned that to be, it's not a direct sequel, of course, but I'm a huge Creed fan. I think that, I love what Coogler did with that film, and to be able to bring, especially for a franchise that was basically dead. No. Rocky Balboa did rejuvenate that franchise after Rocky V was just so bad that kind of killed the franchise for 2 decades or whatever. But I enjoyed the Rocky Balboa movie the last time we got the Rocky fight. But Creed was you're right there. As far as bringing an old franchise back, Creed definitely is should like set the expectation where it needs to be.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. It was kind of funny when Nicholas and I went and watched Maverick. There was me and him, and I think there was one other guy in the theater. So there was nobody around, right? And there was that scene where Maverick he did his signature move where he puts on the brakes, lets the bad guy get past him, and then he drops down behind him, right? He does that in the first one. He does it in the second one. And so that's funny. We know he's going to do that. But then he's got missile lock on the bad guy, fires the missile, and the bad guy does a little thing with his controller and just flips his plane around, and the missile goes past him. And out loud in the theater, and I don't do this, but as I'm watching that and he does that maneuver, out loud I just go, "What the F?" But I didn't say F. The whole thing came out. Right?
That's an honest reaction.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was several of those moments, and it's funny because I watched it with my wife, and I'm like, "Hey, so this guy's the one who," and I'm like, I hope I'm not, because I'm the guy that doesn't like talking. trying to do this. And then, but there's like that all of a sudden, because I went to whatever it was, the Dolby surround to where all of a sudden, like the moment that the engines fire, like you feel it and you're
Right.
That's crazy.
Here we go. Here we go. And we went back to the theater to see it like a week later because it was just, I was like, I definitely want to see it in the theater twice before it goes to the downgraded theater. You know, typically the first week they get the Dolby Cinema, the IMAX, all that. So I went for the full theatrical experience. And then we went back before it got downgraded. And then I think we might even went to go see it a third time, like right before it left, because it was in theaters for a very long time.
Yeah. So had
3,
your
4
wife
months later, I was like, "Want to go see Top Gun again?"
So had your wife seen Top Gun before she saw Maverick?
She said she's pretty sure she did.
Okay.
And so she didn't really watch many movies, and she's a couple years younger than me. So I mean, this came out before she was born, and I'm not convinced that she had ever seen it. So I'm constantly being like, "That's the guy who was the, you know,
Right.
you know, they're doing the thing. They're yeah." And so yeah, but even without having seen it or knowing it like as well as we would, she still very, very much enjoyed it.
Oh
and
yeah.
you know, really fill in on without missing a beat. And like anything else, it's like, oh, I don't want to plug holes into this, because I was like, they would not let there's no 65-year-old guy in the military. That's not, that can't have, however old, I hate to say he's older than he is, but 58, right, whatever he is. And then it's also funny too, because in my head, I'm doing the math and I was like, Rooster would be like 35 years old at this point, and he's clearly supposed to be like a hot, young, like 24-year-old.
Sure.
You know? But hey, we're not poking plot holes in the movie.
Right.
Let's
You can
mention
either enjoy the movie, or you can figure out that it doesn't work.
Right. Yeah. And Top Gun was one of those ones where it's in a lot of cases, yeah, you know what's going to happen. You know that eventually Iceman and him are gonna make up. And how cool is that? You can be my wingman anytime. You know, it's one of those ones which they also bring back for the sequel in a way, of course. Yeah.
Yep. I like that they brought Val Kilmer back. I thought that was so cool.
That really was.
That was his last movie.
Yeah,
I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, they did well. It was like a tearjerker, you know, because we kind of know what's happening. And but I liked it though. They didn't, it was, again, you're playing the hits. You're playing. I mean, it's almost paint by numbers. The same characters, the same. You know, they brought in John Hamm to be the new same guy. They did not bring in a hot teacher for this one though. That one they did not do.
But there was the other love interest.
Right. And I didn't like they shoehorned that, but hey, what can you do? With another very tastefully done non-sex scene
that any 6-year-old would be proud of.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, they definitely did not didn't cross any lines there. Yeah. But even with Glenn Powell, you know, bringing him in to kind of be the Iceman type role. And you see how well Glenn Powell's doing. You know, he's just guy's on fire. He's about the biggest actor that we have going for us right now. And he did a few things, of course, before Top Gun, but you could directly look at Top Gun and say that was it. Same thing with Tom Cruise. You know, obviously with Risky Business and a couple other things they did, it was Top Gun that you're like, oh, okay, this is potentially the biggest action star that we will ever know in our lives. The fact that he's still doing it. And of course he did venture off into doing a bit more serious roles he was trying different things, Tom Cruise, that is with Eyes Wide Shut and doing Vanilla Sky and trying to do, he even did the Michael Mann movie where he played the hitman. I'm drawing a blank, but he really took some pretty big risks. And again, Tom Cruise is never bad in a movie, but then you see this last decade, it's like, dude, just be Maverick, do Mission Impossible, do Reacher, just he's got that on such lock that it's like this tool that's in his bag that he could go to at any time. And it seems like it doesn't matter how old he's getting, because I never, not in one point did I watch Top Gun Maverick and said, nah, he's too old. I'm not buying it. Not one point did I think that. I'm thinking, yes, this guy's in prime. Absolutely, he could do all this.
Yeah.
So Glenn Powell, he wanted to be Rooster.
Yeah. He was a little bummed out. He didn't get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's in The Running Man now, right?
He is. Yeah. I went and saw it last week. Yeah. It was it was all right. I'm a big fan of the original. I mean, Arnold is my favorite actor.
Love that movie.
Yeah.
So my wife and I 80s action movies. Running Man is I mean, that's in my pantheon of fun popcorn movies of all time.
So
the new one's okay. It's to be honest with you, I don't think it quite knew what it wanted to be. Moments it tried to be campy, like like the original one kind of did. But then there was other moments where they try to drive it in like it's very serious, that like the government is wrong. But then it was like they really got caught in this in between of what it wanted to be. I think if it would have leaned one way or the other, I think it would have been well. But with I think it almost tried to check too many boxes. But hey, that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah. For Edgar Wright Part 2, right?
Right.
Oh, did you guys do Edgar Wright?
We talked about the Cornetto trilogy.
Oh, sweet, great, wonderful.
Yeah. So, but he's been wanting to revisit Edgar Wright again because the Cornetto trilogy is really its own thing, and then everything else after that is such a wide, eclectic mix of
big movies too.
Yeah.
Baby Driver. Out of his, I'm not sure. If we were to do a lower end movie of his, I'm not even sure which one it would be in this at this point, because you're right. The he does take some fun chances, and it's almost a shame because he was at one point supposed to be doing Marvel movies. He was supposed to do Ant-Man, and they just couldn't come to agreement. I think he wanted to do his own thing, but hey.
Yeah, there's a list, there's a checkbox that you have to go through for Marvel movies. And they want directors who are willing to play within those checkboxes. And if you're going to do something so bizarre and so crazy and so out of the norm, then they don't want, it's really funny is that Marvel movies are like what the studio system used to be back in the 30s and the 40s, where the producers made all the shots. The director was just there on set to facilitate. You had a writer, you had a set decorator, and everyone had their own specific jobs. And Marvel movies are as far from the auteur theory as you can get, because the producers have the final say, just like Casablanca and all those older films before we started doing the package deal system. So, I'd say Marvel is the new studio system. And if you want to be a director who stretches your legs and tries new things, Marvel is not for you.
Yeah, I think you go one step further with that and even say Disney as a whole, because they're doing the same thing to Star Wars, because they want you to be paint by numbers, living in this thing. And whenever they brought in a couple of these guys that, whether it was Ryan Johnson or whether it was, there was the other, was it a duo that was doing one of the Star Wars? Then they replaced him and brought in Ron Howard, because they're like, Ron Howard will play by the rules and he'll get the movie done, and it'll be the movie that the studio wants, and it'll get done on time, on budget, because Ron Howard's a pro and he came in and did that. And it's, I get it. But at the same time, of course, it is a little bit of a bummer. It is much nicer. I noticed Marvel was trying to lean a little bit out of that, where they were giving some people some creativity to put their own mark on it. Like, of course, like Sean Gunn doing Guardians of the Galaxy, because it wasn't an already established IP. And Guardians of the Galaxy felt like a different movie than the other Marvels. Or they brought in Sam Raimi to do one, and he did the Doctor Strange sequel.
Multiverse
and they said
Madness.
Yeah, exactly. And they said basically do like a horror movie. And it was almost like an Evil Dead type, where it's like, I mean, even the script was like, oh, the evil book that's cursed. And, it was so much like an old Evil Dead movie that it actually felt like a Sam Raimi movie. And it's funny that at the end of the day, people didn't like it, because they're like, it's not what they were used to. So it is a fine line that you have to walk.
Yeah, don't get too far out of what we're used to.
Yeah. I think that's why indie film is so cool, is because there's no one to tell you what to do. You're the one telling what's going to happen. You go out and do it. You can make whatever movies you want. You don't have to make cookie cutter Marvel movies and stuff like that. So
Yeah, you're right. And to be, I got a good friend of mine who's a very gifted filmmaker, and it's just his dream is to make a Star Wars movie. And it's funny. I'm like, do something different that's cool, and but you don't want to, you don't want to, crap on somebody's dream because in a way that is his dream. But I'm like I get it, but also like, no, like come on, do a really cool indie that just feels different and gives your creativity. Because you're right, you whenever you do work within a studio, whether it's nowadays or back then, it did feel like there was during the 70s and the 80s, whenever you had the renaissance of directors. That's whenever Steven Spielberg, Scorsese, Brian De Palma, they were all friends. They were all making movies and like kind of helping each other out. They would legit give each other notes and make calls and really help each other out. And they were working for studios, but nobody was like locked into any certain studio, and they were all kind of bounce around like they were free agents. Like was the old story of some of these guys, like, oh, okay, so I went and Fox wanted it, and then I said, this is the actor I want. And they said no. It's like, okay, I'll just go down the street to Universal, they'll make it. And it's
right.
because they had the power. And now with whether or not you want to say Disney is like a monopoly type thing, because whether they are or not, I'm not saying that they are, but obviously with buying up Fox and buying up, Star Wars and Marvel, they did buy up a lot of the entities that the big tentpole films were in, but it's certainly not stopping anybody else from buying up. And and with all these studios, it's tough. It is studio films are a tough business right now, and to see like Paramount just was almost sunk. And then if it wasn't for Top Gun Maverick and like Mission Impossible movies, who knows where they would have been, because it was just it's a tough time. And circle it back to Top Gun Maverick. It's funny that Top Gun sequel had been talked about for so long.
Yeah.
That apparently there's like 100 scripts out there of everybody. It was one that people were legit like, how do we do this?
Tony Scott even had written a couple, because he was originally going to direct Maverick.
Yep. Yeah, Tony Scott was thought of that he was going to try to go into that point of his career where he was going to start doing sequels to his earlier movies. Because I don't know if any Tony Scott sequel off the top of my head that there ever was. I'm sure I'm probably missing something. I mean, he did a sequel to a movie that he did originally. He did Beverly Hills Cop 2, but he didn't do the first Beverly Hills Cop. Much like his brother, or remember Ridley Scott. And it's like if you look at like Alien, it was like went from Ridley Scott to like James Cameron, just some of the best. And
to Fincher.
Yeah, to Fincher, and then to Joss Whedon. And you're like, how are all these amazing filmmakers? But that's what's kind of the fun thing, is that whenever you have a cool property like that, and that could kind of bounce around a little bit, it's kind of fun, because each movie did kind of look a little different,
right,
in that regard.
I think I had read that Tony Scott and Tom Cruise, I think that they had even gotten to a point where they were kind of scouting locations and stuff and talking about let's do the second Top Gun. And then I think shortly after that, Tony Scott ended up committing suicide, and so that that went away. But yeah, so I think that was in the works. But
yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah, because I've been super curious about his, because I don't even know what his last movie was, because he had that run there. Most directors do have their what do you call it?
Their peak.
The person that they use a lot. Obviously, early Scorsese, it was De Niro, and then later on Scorsese, him and Leo did 9 movies together.
Their muse.
Yeah, their muse. And with Tony Scott, it was Denzel became his, and they did so many just really cool movies that it wasn't just the same movie over and over. It really did feel like it really did feel more like a Scorsese and Leo, where every movie is just very, very different from one to the next. And yeah, I can't even. Yeah, I don't even remember what Tony Scott's last film was. It's yeah, very unfortunate, obviously, what happened to him. But I heard that he had been ready to start going back to the well on some of those ones, and as well as like Tom Cruise, because Tom Cruise was I mean, yeah, Mission Impossibles, and he did two Jack Reachers, but he wasn't one that was just redoing old characters. Even some of his big movies, like he played Lestat in Interview with the Vampire. Then Lestat was in multiple movies with always with other character or other actors, and so for Tom Cruise to be like, okay, I think because he had that franchise and Mission Impossible, I feel like it gave him a comfort in thinking like, oh, okay, I can do another one, and that's okay, because I know that's the thing with a lot of actors and a lot of directors. Like, no, I don't want to go back to that. Like, we did that, let it stand, because there's a thing, you could taint your legacy if you do a bad sequel, and it does. As sad as it is, it makes you think differently about it. And I know that with like Tony and Tom, I think that you also, I guess you also hit a point in your life where you're like, maybe we do go back. Like I saw they just did, I didn't see it, but they just did another Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
And that was one where, yeah, you talk about legacy sequel.
Yeah, there you go.
So far after. And I was not to name drop, but I was at the director's house, and I heard him talking about it the year before they made it. And he's like, they keep asking me to make it. If we're going to do it, we got to do it now because the guys are getting too old, And he's like, I don't really want to do it. He's like, but HBO keeps throwing money at me, And he's like, they keep raising the price. So, he's like, what do?
Yeah.
You go and you make the movie.
And do it.
Right.
Yeah. And I did not see the new Spinal Tap, but I know it came out. Didn't do great numbers. Didn't do great with the critics, but it came out for what it's worth.
Yeah. So the last thing I actually have listed for Tony Scott for a feature film, 2010 Unstoppable.
So it was Unstoppable. Okay.
Is that also Denzel?
Yes.
Yeah, that was Denzel and Chris Pine in that one.
Yeah.
That was another gritty movie. It was a fun movie, fun watch too.
Yeah, you're right. He worked with Denzel Washington a lot.
A lot, yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and for Denzel, for outside of Denzel, of course, Denzel's had a very illustrious career, but that was the one director I think that it almost feels, again, everybody has kind of those people that no matter how many times you've done it, like, all right, you want to go at it again?
Yeah.
And after working with directors multiple times, I understand it because there's a comfort factor there. I've worked with actors that I want to continue to work with, and that goes for every member on set. If there's a really good sound guy that I like, yes, I'm going to keep hiring the same person because I know that they'll do a good job and they're a good hang. So I'm sure that him and Denzel had some sort of, connection that, and Denzel, great actors of our generation. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. He also did a movie with Ridley Scott. He did The New Gladiator.
Good. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Nice. Well, do we have anything else for Top Gun that we want to...
Who's your favorite character?
Dave, what do you got?
I would say I really like Iceman. And then when I figured out that I was looking at Tom Skerritt, I really liked him too. Because all I know Tom Skerritt from is from Alien. So I just kept watching this movie and I was like, when's Tom Skerritt going to be here? And then there's one scene, I think it's like right after Goose dies, and I was like, oh, that's Tom Skerritt. He's been here the whole time.
Right.
The whole time.
Yeah. What's his name? Viper?
Was that his old call sign? Yeah,
I think so.
Tom Skerritt is Viper. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that they go by some of the old call names too. Like I said, John Hamm was basically that character in the new one,
Right.
and I forget what his was. It was like, oh, okay, Bushwhack or whatever, whatever fun name they got.
Yeah, that these guys are officers and they still go by,
Oh yeah, you're ride or die at that point.
So John Hamm was Cyclone.
Cyclone. What a cool.
Yeah.
So my favorite characters, probably two of them. I absolutely loved Anthony Edwards, Goose.
Yeah.
I thought his character was awesome. And I really liked Michael Ironside.
Oh, I love him in everything.
He was Jester.
Everything.
I love him in everything. He does a lot of work with Paul Verhoeven, who would be a really cool director to talk about soon.
Be with the party, Richter.
Yes. I love that line.
Nice.
Yeah, there's with Ironside, yeah, you're right. Yeah, he's another one of those ones that pops up in all the big movie
80s movies.
Days. Yeah, you're just like you're like, yep, there he is. Yeah.
Right.
I'd expect every one of you to do the same for me. Starship Troopers.
Oh, okay. That's right.
Yeah.
Give me a second. Very underrated Paul Verhoeven.
Oh, that movie's so good.
Yeah, I think I rewatched Star Trek. I think I rewatched that like every 7 or 8 months. I'll just kind of, I think I'll watch that again. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's good. That's another one that I've heard that they're going to remake or do a weird, because I think there was bad sequels to that too, wasn't there? When they're like direct to like B movie sequels to that.
Yeah.
Makes sense. But heard that they're going to redo that one. And my fear is that they're going to do what like Total Recall did whenever they redid it and just try to make like a very straight, serious movie and not satire. And it's just not going to land.
Yeah. The problem is when you remake something or do a sequel, like especially with sequels, you start to see that the director of the sequel missed the point. They're just like, oh, I loved this movie because it was an action movie, and they make an action movie, but you're like, no, this movie was a satire on action movies, and you missed the entire point.
Right.
So, but that's a conversation for Starship Troopers. Sure. Conversation for another time. I would love. You want to come back and talk about Paul Verhoeven?
I'll talk about Paul Verhoeven. It'd be he was like I said, he was my initial pick to go on the list. I was like, let me go with somebody different.
Well, when we do that one, I'll have some notes.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah, I could talk. If one of the notes better be about a woman with 3 boobs because
See, even as a 6-year-old, I knew that was done tastefully as well.
Absolutely.
My wife does not like that scene.
I can't remember. Did they did a 3-boob girl in the remake too, didn't they? They just did it differently.
I never saw the remake.
You don't need to see the remake.
Yeah.
I think they did, but maybe she was wearing a bra. I can't remember. It was something that it didn't land the same, and
All right, so how are we going to rate these? We want to start with
we have a really good rating system. We have it down. I think before we ever do the shows, we should probably come up with what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Because it's different every time, and then we argue about it, and I don't know.
So, 1 out of 10 MIGs
for Top Gun.
For Top Gun.
Yeah.
But we'll start with the fan. Let's see. 1 out of 10 abandoned children in a baseball stadium.
Actually, I think it's 1 out of 10. How many times are you going to hit your friend in the head with the bat?
Okay, bat whacks. All right, I can do that.
It's the bat whack.
How many bat whacks does the fan get, Kevin?
For me, I'm going to go with 4 bat whacks.
Okay,
right.
I have to sit this one out because I haven't finished it.
So I think I'd probably do 6 bat whacks.
6 bat whacks
on my friend. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the norm. I think that's what it is about on IMDb, somewhere right around this.
Yeah.
And we'll bring bat wax back when we do Casino.
Yeah, Godfather 2 or whatever it was, and Casino, yeah.
That, that's funny. That's the other thing I forgot I was going to say was you go through the whole show of The Fan. I didn't realize that Robert De Niro, it's like his heyday for baseball was when he was in what's the little kids
Little League?
Yeah, like a little league type thing. He wasn't
a high school player, or
Right. I don't think he was like professional or anything like that, right? Don't they just kind of, at the end of the show, it's like, we were just little league players, dude. And then he kills him. Yeah. So this is where, you're like an expert in baseball because you played little league. Okay.
Gosh.
Okay.
Yeah. How many MIGs does Top Gun get?
I'll let you go first.
Yeah.
Oh man. Not quite perfect, but I'll give that bad boy a 9.
I'll give Top Gun 8.5 MIGs.
8.5 MIGs.
Yeah.
Nice.
8 MIGs and then 1 that's been sunk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd probably give it 8.5 MIGs also. I thought it was a phenomenal story. Of course, it's dated. It was a long time ago, but the characters and the story and everything I thought were really good, and I really enjoyed it. So 8.5 MIGs, and I'm probably going to throw in like a half a goose ejecting and smashing his head into the canopies. So,
oh man, tearjerker.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, in case you haven't seen it, Goose doesn't make it.
Oh.
He gets cooked. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Kevin, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
I hope that I will see you soon at a premiere of 259.
That's right. I think they're going to do one in Boise, I think. And then where's the other one?
I think it's in Seattle.
Oh, Seattle. Yeah. So I don't know. That would be awesome if you could come to Boise. That would be totally cool.
I hope so. We were just discussing it. So if dates get locked, we'll do our best to be there.
Yeah.
Right on.
All right.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well, yeah, thank you for being on. This was a lot of fun. So
yeah, very good conversation. And we'll definitely have you back on. So, you ever feel like, oh, hey, I got a director I want to talk about, let us know.
Yeah, if you text me, if you text me anytime and say, hey, you want to talk about this movie or this director, I'll be like, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Look forward to it.
All right, we're ready to head on out of here?
Let's roll.
Let's do it.
And we're gone.
All right. We'll see you later, man.
All right. Take care, guys. Really good chatting. And we'd love to do it again. So thanks again for having me.
Absolutely,
man.
Thanks, brother.
All right. See you, buddy.
Shut it down.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to My Dad's Movie Podcast. We would like to offer a shout out to our very first ever oldest son tier patron, Jared Louder. Thank you very much for subscribing to our Patreon and helping our podcast grow. If you too would like your name shouted out at the end of our episodes, head over to patreon.com, My Dad's Movie Podcast, and sign up for the $5 oldest son tier. And thank you very much. We love you guys.
Thanks for listening to My Dad's Movie Podcast. We had a lot of fun creating it, and we hope you enjoyed it.
For more content, please check us out at Facebook and YouTube at My Dad's Movie Podcast, or visit our website, mydadsmoviepodcast.com.
And always, if you'd like to help support us, please check out our Patreon at My Dad's Movie Podcast.
Thanks for listening, everybody.